Best friends forever. They approached the receptionist. "I'll do the talking, dear, since Doc has asked you to rest your voice," Rosa said. And David watched the receptionist roll her eyes as she held out their consultation receipt. "Thanks," Rosa said, "but you really must migrate to digital receipts. Surely you know most of us just throw these things away. It's a scandalous waste of paper, destroying our trees and our planet. Every bit builds up, you know. A small change would make a big difference to the world our children will live in and our children's children, especially considering how popular Doc is." "I've informed him of your concerns for your grandchildren," the receptionist replied testily. "Multiple times. In fact, after each of your visits. He assures me he will do something about it. In time. Now that's as much as I can offer you," she added, giving David a glare, to which he responded with a helpless shake of his head. Sometimes Rosa was incorrigible, and there was nothing he could do about it. But people always seemed to hold him responsible for her bad behavior. He pocketed the receipt and left hurriedly, dragging Rosa with him, or she might have had a lot more to say on the subject. She was passionate about ecology and the planet. The chemist was just a few steps away, and they picked up his prescription. Rosa informed the chemist that the doc had advised David to rest his voice, so she was doing the talking. The chemist gave David a big grin as he turned to get all the meds. He then explained the prescription to Rosa, who promptly ticked him off. "He can hear and understand, you know. He's just not permitted to talk." David could see the red tide rising in the man and put his hand out to calm him, but the chemist snatched his away, explained the dosage without looking at either of them, packaged and handed over the meds brusquely. David paid up and they left toot sweet. Honestly, Rosa would get him into serious trouble one day. She was in a confrontational mood. The doc, having told David to rest his voice, had been interpreted by her as license to exercise hers twice as much. Even the conductor on the bus home got a mouthful. "I'll sit on David's lap, so we're only going to pay one fare, young man," she needlessly cautioned him. And even when they were seated, he could make out she was bristling, just looking for a fight. "They are staring at my breasts, the beasts!" she hissed loudly at David, loud enough for everyone on the bus to hear. David heard the smothered guffaws, but refused to respond. She was a bit busty and tended to provoke this kind of reaction, and it always riled her up. But usually, she tolerated it in affronted silence. This was just one of her days. He didn't check to see whom it was, but at least one decent person said, "Give the lady some space, guys. Behave yourselves." More laughter, not so muffled this time, and Rosa was practically breathing fire. What did she want him to do? Pick a fight? He was hardly in any condition. He let out a deep sigh, and probably reading that correctly as his helplessness, she flounced towards the window and fumed in silence. Fortunately, it was a short journey, and they scrambled off the bus at their stop, the back of his neck prickling at the sound of the unabashed laughter. The conductor gave him a light clip on his head, growling mockingly. Bill was so mean. He deliberately stopped at the fruit shop. The owner was always good to Rosa. That would mollify her, he hoped. Sure enough, as they entered, he called out, "Hi, David. Hi, Rosa. How's it going?" Rosa tossed her head at him. "David's got a sore throat, and the doc has asked him to rest his voice, so only I'm talking today. And it's been a rough day. Everyone ogling and giggling and being hostile or mocking. What's a pretty girl to do, I ask you?" "Don't you worry your dear little head over the nasties, my sweet Rosa," he responded, indicating why he was her favorite. "The world is full of monsters, and we can't be wasting our lives worrying over them." She blew him a kiss as David put 2 apples and 2 bananas into his shopping basket and paid up at the counter, the two of them still bantering on cheerfully. He was grateful her mood had been restored. Their flat was small, and if she was in a rotten mood, that made David's life very difficult. He could actually feel the heat waves bouncing off her and ricocheting off the walls. His tiny flat was at the top of the building, 3 stories up. And with his sore throat went a weakened body, and he was exhausted long before they reached the top. Huffing and puffing at his door, fumbling for the house key, he felt Rosa's compassion as for once she stayed silent. At last, he got the key into the lock. The door swung open and they stumbled in, physically and mentally wrung out by their short morning sojourn. David went straight to the kitchen counter, filled a glass of water and fished out the packet of meds under Rosa's watchful eye. "Yes," she encouraged, "they're all twice a day, so you can take 1 of each now. And after you've washed them down, you can have the syrup. Doc said 3 or even 4 or 5 times if you're coughing too much. We'll assume 3 for the present." He swallowed the meds obediently. "That's good," she said. "And now, I think you should rest." Softly, not straining his voice at all, he muttered, "Thank you, Rosa. You always look after me so well." He kissed her lovingly, and she smiled adoringly at him. Then he walked her across to her high chair. It was custom made for her, with proper straps and all to hold her in place. He pulled his left arm out of the perfectly contoured hollow in the back of her torso and noticed sadly how that always made her go limp and lifeless, no matter how animated she'd been just seconds before. He strapped her into her chair, adjusting her skirts around her small stuffed body and the wooden legs, brought the little table down in front of her and rested her wooden hands naturally on it. Sometimes he put a book in her hands or a mug of tea. But today, he didn't have much energy, and in her chair, Rosa was a quiet thing. Exhaustion overcame him. So he had a quick wash before almost collapsing onto his bed, with Rosa's unblinking glass eyes still watching over him. David felt so blessed to have her in his life. She was the most loving and caring best friend. As he drifted off to sleep, he heard her whisper, "Sweet dreams, dear David. Be well soon."